asked to be excused. If anyone is here to speak at our public hearings, there are forms out on the podium out front. If you'd fill those out and get them up to our recorders, who we're missing both of right now. I guess I shouldn't start until we have a recorder here. So we will, Councilmember Peterson was on the agenda to hold our opening ceremony, and I've asked Councilmember Phipps to take care of that for us.
Would you please stand and repeat Pledge of Allegiance with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father in heaven, we bow to thee tonight, grateful for the opportunity to live in this great land that provides us freedoms and opportunities and privileges. Grateful for the opportunity to be in this community and for those that serve and sacrifice in our behalf. As we meet together, we pray thy blessing be upon us, that we may be wise and make the right decisions. We pray thy blessing upon those who put their lives in line every day, our firefighters, our police officers, and others, that thou will protect them and bless their families as they are away at inconvenient times. Will thou be with us now and bless us in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Vernon. Councilman, we have minutes to approve from the November 13th policy session. Have you had a chance to review those minutes? Are there any additions or corrections?
Your Honor, I'll move to approve the minutes for the November 13, 2018 policy session.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Roper and a second from Councilmember Bush. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes stand. That brings us to item number 1, which is our public hearing to receive public comment on a request to rezone the properties located at 320, 340, and 360 West Antelope Drive from M1 manufacturing to C2 commercial. And Brad, would you give us some background on that?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd be happy to. So as you see before you, these are the properties that are being requested to rezone. So on the left-hand side of your screen, you see the general plan, which governs our future land use decisions for the city. You can see that these 3 properties that are highlighted in red are designated to be commercially zoned. And then on the right area, so these properties are currently zoned to M1 manufacturing, and the applicants are requesting that they be changed to C2 commercial to match the commercial that's on the south side and to facilitate future development of the site. So based upon review of the general plan and then also this application, staff is recommending approval to the City Council, and the Planning Commission forwarded a recommendation of approval to the Council for this rezone. And they were subject to these findings. So back on the November 7th, the Planning Commission unanimously voted to approve this rezone for those 3 properties there, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about that.
Council, any questions for Brad? Okay, thank you, Brad. Go ahead and declare the public hearing open. Is there anyone here to speak in regards to the zoning change? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item number 2 is to consider, as a public hearing, to receive public comment on reprogramming community development block grant funds, the CDBG funds, from the 2017-2018 program year for the continuation of the housing rehabilitation program during the 2018-2019 program year. Brad? That almost explained it right there, but
You did. Any questions? So pretty briefly, we had talked about this in a work session with the Council and the Planning Commission about a month or so ago. And in order to reprogram funds, we are required as a community to open a public comment period at the end of October, and then today would be the final day. Due to some noticing requirements, we needed to change that to today being the first day to open a public comment period, and then that would be extended for 30 days. This allows us to post a notice for the community to provide any comment about us reprogramming these funds, and also to gain any information as well. So what the situation is that we have at hand is that the 2017-18 program year, there's $6,515.39 left over in administrative funds. So we did not spend those funds towards administration. So the administrative costs would have included mine or Stacy's, anybody else that would be the CDBG program coordinator. And then also there was the emergency home repair program. That was one that we, the year prior, and then had decided to continue it in 2017-18. There was a little bit of interest, but then there were no funds that were actually expended. So we had allocated as a city $30,000 of our CDBG funds to that, and none of those funds were expended, and the program did expire on June 30th. On the other side, there was the housing rehabilitation program that has had quite a bit of success since spring of this year. So the total amount that has been allocated to that program is just over $109,000. As of the 26th, we only have $3,494 of that left. And then likely there will be at least one more draw of $920 between now and the end of the month. And so the recommendation is to take whatever we did not spend in the immediate funds, the emergency home repair, and then whatever is left over for the housing rehab to reprogram that for this 2018-19 year, which would then go until till June 30th of 2019. I've reached out to Davis Community Housing Authority. They administer the housing rehab program for us, and she said that she's been taking pictures of some of the projects. So I wanted to go through some of those with you to give you an idea of this is what the housing rehab program has gone towards. This is how it's impacting our community. I wasn't able to get these pictures before tonight's meeting, so that way they could be in your packet. So I'll just go through those briefly. So with this project, they were able to, you can see on the left, they had a deteriorated driveway, and then you've also got some older windows. They were able to completely replace their driveways for the home. So this is the new driveway on the left, and then the new windows that they were able to put in. Not only are the new windows nicer, but you get, with new windows, a lot of times you're able to increase the energy efficiency in your home. And so it's a really great thing that we're able to help people in our community with. And for a lot of these people that apply, I would say the vast majority, because they have to fall within that income level to moderate to low income households, they wouldn't have been able to do this otherwise. This is a picture of a home that the siding was old, deteriorated. There's still some more improvements that need to be done, but they were able to completely replace the siding on their home, and even add some new trim to the windows. So the old picture is on the left, the new picture is on the right. This picture is of a home, same thing, siding and windows. The bottom right is the new picture. So with this one, they were able to do new windows, new insulation for the windows, and completely new siding, and they were able to change up the look and feel of the house a little bit.
They upgraded their lawnmower too.
Yeah, they improved their lawnmower, you're right. They went to self-propelled to a child-propelled lawnmower,
right, yeah.
It looks like, so. But yeah, if you could say that, they were improving their house, they were even able to clean up their property, so. This is just a picture. This one, they were able to replace the new windows. And again, these are a lot of them are older homes. Not everything, is getting repaired all at the same time, but it's important to recognize what has been happened there. So the window on the right of the home wasn't replaced, but all the other windows were. So that came with new windows, new insulation around those windows, so they're now more energy efficient. A lot of these homes are in the neighborhood just to the east of us, just because it's the older housing stock. But you were able to get new windows, as you can see there. And so you've got this one that now has the double pane window, and then they also were able to replace the window that was in their basement. It had some leaking and things like that, so they were able to take care of that. This is a home that's more on the west side of town. These were the windows that were there before. Nice looking windows, but they were just old. They just needed to be updated and probably weren't as efficient as the new windows that they were able to put in. So these are the new windows that they were able to put in. They decided to keep the shutters for the most part on those windows, and then even replace the basement windows, and it matched better to their new design. This one is a home that they were able to apply a new roof to. So you can see on the left, the roof was falling apart. Again, these people likely wouldn't have been able to do without getting this assistance. On the right, you're able to see that they were able to get a new roof, And some of the things that I've been able to notice with these projects is that as one thing gets fixed, you're actually starting to see other things that they're able to provide attention to. And then this one's probably my favorite because you see how, dangerous you could say the deck is. So that was what the deck was on their backyard, and that's what it is now. So brand new deck, wooding, the siding, everything else is brand new for that backyard. So as I'd kind of stated before, as you can see in the bullet points, the second one's that we have allocated a total of $109,751 to the housing rehab program, and there's just a few thousand that are left to be spent. So with that, as staff, we're recommending that those funds be reprogrammed, or at least the remaining funds that were not spent be reprogrammed to continue the program to the end of the 2018-19 program year. These were just pictures of some of the rehab projects that had happened. That's probably about half or even less than half of the projects that have happened. So those are just the ones we were able to get. And then the program currently has been extended to the end of November. So anything after November, we would have to reallocate the funds to be able to spend towards. So with that, as staff, we'll recommend, we'll review this program even more in depth between now and the end of the year if you do choose to reprogram those funds for it, and really decide, is everything working the way we want to with the rehab? Do we want to continue it? As a city, it's up to us to decide if we want to use those CDBG funds for that or something else. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Brad.
Did we put a limit on the amount that we
Yes.
give for each project?
Yeah, do you know the limit, Mayor? Or?
I believe it's, I want to say it's 7,500, but.
It's 8,000.
Okay.
So, and with each, what's different between the housing rehab program and the emergency home repair, the emergency home was a 1 to 3, it was, actually, no, it wasn't a match at all.
Right.
We could give up to $3,000 to people, but with the housing rehab program, it's a 1 to 4 match. So for every $1 that they spend, we're able to provide $4 of assistance. So each one of these, I've gone through each grant recipient, gone through each one of those projects, and they're either at that 1 to 4 or spending, I'd say probably half of the cases, people are spending a little bit more than that 1 to 4.
And are most of these at the max amount? The 8?
Not all of them, no. I would say what I'm seeing is that you've got, there's some that are about $4,000, others that are about $2,000. There's been only about a handful that are going to the 8,000.
Yeah, it's been interesting as I've had to sign each one of those.
Yeah,
most of them aren't, so.
Yeah, so the mayor's had to sign for the environmental documents and things, so you've been able to see how much is going towards those. But yeah, it's kind of varies across the board. Not all of them are going up to the 8,000.
Okay, thank you.
Quick, just one question. With the deck, and I could be wrong remembering back to our parameters on there, front of the house, this was to improve the neighborhood of the homes. I mean, windows would be included with that, but this was front of the house, and I'm just wondering how we got a deck to qualify.
That's a good question.
Other than that it was dilapidated and needed to come down, but that would have seemed more of an emergency home repair than this program.
Right. So just looking at the brochure, I'm not sure if it doesn't really detail that that's the case. I can check with.
Okay, just something to look into.
I can look into the details of it.
We may want to tweak that parameter, because that's the idea behind this.
Is it
was
the
to fix
facade?
neighborhoods. And, if you change off the front of somebody's house or their roof or whatever else, that it adds value to their house, but it also incentivizes the others around them to bring their properties up.
Yeah, and I can check with Mary, who administers it for us.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you. We all go through it.
Yeah, Mary's very well familiar. It just means we may have missed that in the plan, so.
Yeah.
I
But
want to go back and tweak it.
this would help the appearance from the people in the back of
Yeah.
the house, because I have neighbors whose decks are falling
Very
down,
true.
and it's an eyesore for me to look at them.
Any other questions for Brad? Okay, then we will go ahead and declare the public hearing open.
Thank you.
And we're leaving this one open, is that correct, for a month? Is that our?
No, you can close it, and we've noticed for a second public hearing.
Oh, okay, very good. So is anybody here to speak in regards to this? Okay, then I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Your Honor, seeing no comment, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that brings us to our open comment period. Anybody here to address the council? Okay, we'll move on then to item number 4, which is to consider approval of ordinance 2018-27, rezoning the properties located at 320, 340, and 360 West Antelope Drive from M1 manufacturing to C2 commercial. We just held our public hearing on this, council. Any concerns or questions? Okay, then I would entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I move to approve ordinance 2018-27, rezoning the properties located at 320, 340, and 360 West Antelope Drive from M1 manufacturing to C2 commercial, and authorize your signature to any necessary documents.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Councilmember Bush?
Aye.
Councilmember Tucker?
Aye.
Councilmember Phipps?
Aye.
Okay, that is unanimous. Item number 5 is to consider approval of Resolution 2018-R-16 to consider the North Davis Fire District's request to annex Sunset City into its service area. And just as a background on this, we've discussed this for a long time now, well over a year. About a year ago, they approached us, the North Davis Fire District, to annex them in. They had some backlash from their residents at that point. While we were in the motion and had all of this going and had brought this to council, we had to put the brakes on and just stop everything we were doing. And they've now, Sunset City has met with, as a council, they have held their public hearings, they have discussed this at length, and have made application with the North Davis Fire District to annex them officially into their we've been providing, the fire district has now, since that point, since well over a year now, that we've been providing their fire service, and Sunset's very pleased with the fire service that's been provided, and so they're excited to actually join. They've had 2 members of the mayor and one of the council members serving on the board, non-voting members, but able to give their opinions and so forth, but non-voting members of the board. So they're anxious to eventually get this wrapped up and be able to say aye when that time comes. This will just start a process. We'll take care of this portion tonight, and then we'll have a public hearing in January that will start a 60-day comment period. And at that point, in March, we should be able to wrap this up and annex them in. Council, any questions?
So just to consider the annexation.
Correct. Yeah, we're just considering it at this point.
Yeah, it seems
Announcing
weird
the
to have
intent.
a motion to
considering
think
it.
about it, yeah.
It's actually announcing the intent.
Exactly.
Oh,
consider.
announcing it, okay, that makes,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, this is just telling everybody, we plan to do this.
Okay.
There's still more in the process, but this is our initial jump into it.
Your Honor, I move to approve Resolution 2018-R-16 to consider the North Davis Fire District's request to annex Sunset City into its service area, and authorize your signature to any necessary documents.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Councilmember Roper?
Aye.
Councilmember Phipps?
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson?
Aye.
Councilmember Bush?
Aye.
Okay, that is unanimous. Well, that brings us to item of Resolution 2018-R-17, adopting the 2018 biennial review of Clearfield City's moderate income housing report. Spencer, do you want to, we covered this at length in a work session, and we'll give you some time here.
Thank you, Mayor. Just for the public's benefit, so the report that was submitted to the council for review has been discussed previously. This is a report that will be submitted every 2 years and will be updated, will be tied to a plan that will be updated every 5 years. The report that has been submitted to the council is consistent with the data that's provided by the state of Utah, and per the council's approval of this resolution will be submitted to the state and posted for public review as well. One of the other things, just for clarity here in the staff report, we are requesting some funding to do a creation of a plan that we would start probably in the spring of 2019, and the development of housing affordability within the city of Clearfield. Right now we have a housing affordability element in our general plan, but there's a lot more that needs to be tied to that. So we'd be moving forward with that as well. So this would be due every 2 years, and we're happy with the product and happy to answer any questions.
Council, any questions for Spencer? It was a detailed report.
It's detailed,
It was
I tell you.
a great read.
Oh, God.
No.
Yes, if you have trouble sleeping, yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Spencer.
Thank you, Mayor.
Council, I'd entertain a motion on this item then.
Your Honor, I move to approve Resolution 2018-R-17, adopting the 2018 biennial review of Clearfield City's moderate income housing report and authorize your signature to any necessary documents.
Councilmember Thompson,
Aye.
Councilmember Phipps,
Aye.
Councilmember Bush,
Aye.
Councilmember Roper.
Aye.
Okay, that is unanimous. Well, that brings us to our communication items. Just a hearty thank you for everybody for their help last night in making our tree lighting ceremony a success. It was a great thing to come back to. We also did our ribbon cutting yesterday, had Councilmember Bush and Councilmember Thompson with us, and Peterson at our ribbon cutting for the Have a Heart home up on 450 North, 450 South, by the library. Beautiful home, really cool because the couple that was able to buy it with their disabled children already lived in Clearfield, and so they were able to move into a house that is much more friendly to having a blind child and a family in Clearfield and not lose one to somewhere else. So thanks for everybody's support in making that happen. It wouldn't have happened without the CDBG funding and the lot that we were able to provide for them. So thank you, and again, great time last night. Appreciate G-Force giving us their support last night. Huge shout outs to those guys. They're going to be an asset here in the community. They're doing their best to be involved. Yes. And they're going to drive people here, so that's good. Councilmember Bush.
Yes, thank you for that last night, all the staff that was involved. That was great, and to Have a Heart also. I went to the Wasatch Choice Open House a couple of weeks ago down in Syracuse and to see the bike trails and transit and all of that upgrades, or not upgrades, but plans for the future. I thought that was enjoyable, and what they had for Clearfield looked really good. I made a comment on the bike trails too, that we wanted to try to have one coming out of the north of the station area up Depot Street. They didn't have that one on there, so they added that one to their map as a bike trail. The Kiwanis, North Davis Kiwanis Club, of which we are a member, has decided we're going to do coats for Christmas this year, and the Davis Wasatch or Davis Learning Center that's entry is where they keep the items for everybody in the district of things that kids need, coats, and they have toys for little kids and a lot of stuff. They indicated to us that they were in need of coats for high school age kids this year. They had plenty for the little kids, so we have purchased 24 coats for high school age kids, and we're going to give that to them. I went and got the coats today, but nobody was at the Learning Center today. They were out sick, so I'm going to get those coats to them, and that's part of where your money is going with the Kiwanis. We do something for children every year, and that's what we're doing this year.
Well, I just want to publicly thank Kent's Marketplace for donating pies to Wingers because they host now 3 years running a Thanksgiving dinner for the disadvantaged and for our police and fire. Just a great experience giving them the pies, knowing that it went somewhere great, and that the owners of that Wingers are just very dedicated to the Clearfield community. And like the mayor said, I went to the Have a Heart yesterday. It's just so wild how something like that can personally affect me, because my daughter is classmates with the people who received the home, and she was playing upstairs the whole time, and I went around the corner and finally was able to get her, and and she was just like, "Can I come here for a play date?" So I just really want to thank everyone involved in that, to see the happiness from her and those families. But that was a tear-shedding moment. Outside of that, I have nothing else to report.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Roper.
The only thing I wanted to mention was the Youth Commission is doing a random act of themselves and have decided to do a sub for Santa. They selected a family here in Clearfield to help out for Christmas. If anybody would like to assist with that, we have a list of needs and a few wants of their own that are pretty neat to go through and look at what they see as things that they need and want in life. It's been a humbling experience for me and the youth to start this process, and we're looking forward to making it a success.
Outstanding, thank you.
Do you want just donations or get something of the list and us go buy it?
We will either publish that list, but if anybody just wants to give money as well, we'll go out and purchase those things.
Okay, thank you. Vern?
Sure, just to comment on Wasatch Integrated, the last time I'd mentioned this bond process to construct the material recovery facility. It's been delayed. We wanted to give the bidders more time to respond to an RFP to make sure it's thoroughly thought about. Felt like the time was rushed, so that's been delayed a little bit. Parameter resolution is going to be in about 2 weeks with the bond resolution passed mid-January. The intent to issue the bonds in about March. So that included in that would also be the $2 a can increase, which would be effective in the fiscal 2020. So, So just for our planning and such, then we need to be aware of that. Almost certainly will happen that way. And in addition to the fees for depositing mattresses, which will also start about that same time. So they're in the process now of shipping shredded mattresses up to Croydon and seeing how it goes. So, pretty cool. Taking 800 mattresses a week out of the landfill is, you had no idea that there are 800 mattresses a week going into the landfill.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thanks for representing us up there.
People have a hard time sleeping, I think.
Evidently, yeah.
Knew it was coming.
Always can expect a pun.
Staff reports, JJ.
Nothing really to add. I echo the kudos that have already been given, especially for yesterday's events at Have a Heart and the tree light. Happy holidays. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Nancy.
Our schedule is we have work session next week, and I think you'll look really forward to the open meeting training you get to do.
Oh, wow.
And on the 11th, we'll have our final council meeting for the year. Have work session and policy session. So looking forward to the holidays. Get back at it January 8th.
And the 11th is a loaded agenda. That's it'll be a long night.
It looks big, but most of it's touching the same stuff you're holding public hearings for.
Yes.
So
we wanted to get it all in and make sure we can enjoy the holidays. So. Okay, any other staff reports?
Mayor, could I just add?
Oh.
To make sure you have the employee holiday party,
Yes.
January 4th. Wow.
And where is that?
Weber State.
Weber State again this year, but it will be after the first of the year.
Okay.
So we'll be getting more information out, but I wanted to make sure you get that on your calendars.
I was going to mention that. And one other thing, in about mid-November every year, the employees do they dress down, casual, and they buy the ability to do that. It costs us a certain amount of money every day to be able to wear jeans to work. So we have a small pot of money that we'd like to donate to the Youth Commission for their Sub for Santa. So if you would work with Audrey Curtis, she's got that tally, or she can tally that amount, so the kids can go shop for that family. That'd be great.
I appreciate it, and
Okay.
so does the youth.
Trevor is ill in the back tonight, and we're not going to ask him to come out and share that with us. So he's on the upward slide. He thinks he's doing better, but we'll see. Just make sure that you take a look at the calendar for any of the other things that are coming up. The choir concert is on the 10th. The band concert's on the 11th. Yeah, lots of fun. It's that time of year where parties are in abundance. Also, at the end of the month, or close to the end of the month, right before school gets out, it'll be the Falcons Are Fabulous. They're actually raising funds this year for a food pantry inside of Clearfield High. So They wanted that to stay here, they wanted the funds to stay here, and it's a desperately needed facility. They've cleared space off inside the high school for it. It's they're trying to do. So if you have the opportunity to help them out or know any businesses that would like to help them out, let me know. That said, I would entertain a motion to, I got to publicly thank our scouts for being here. Almost got out of here without, from Troop 764, or is it 674? Even though on both of their uniforms it says 764, he's, thank you for being here. We appreciate it and for sticking out through us. And entertain a motion to adjourn policy session and reconvene in our work session.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
So I probably will forget, but I'm going to be out of town.
Yes. Please reconvene.